this early morning, we're going to talk about how to find, heal, and integrate your feminine side. First, let's open up with saying that everyone has a feminine side, regardless of gender and what you identify with. And your feminine side is to be found not anywhere on the outside. For instance, okay, buddy. Shh. But inside of you, the feminine side is how you feel on the inside. How fun it is to know that you don't have to go looking. The feminine side is our internal state. How we feel, the things that we think, the things that we believe and imagine. This is our feminine side. And now that you know where to look for the feminine, how to heal the feminine. You don't need to be going to any workshops, ceremonies, anything like that, but all you need to do is work with your feelings and just learn to feel good about yourself. So many people hate themselves and are still operating under religious conditioning and think that they need to repent, that they're sinners, that they're inherently unworthy, and they have to work really hard just so they could deserve a place in some imaginary heaven. None of that is true. Heaven and hell are here on earth, and they're internal states inside of you. And that's precisely if you feel like hell on the inside, if you're constantly judging yourself, if you're constantly belittling yourself, criticizing yourself, hating on yourself, and if that is too much, you become narcissistic and project all of that out. Well, naturally, nothing in your life is going to feel good, right? Because you're creating it with your thoughts and feelings. But when you realize what's happening and how important your internal state is and how the outside world is a reflection of your internal state, and you don't have to fight the outside, but you need to work with the inner, and when you do, the outside is going to change. Then all of a sudden you have the aha moment and the revelation, and you see the light and the music plays, and you're like, oh. And then you can start to work with the feminine side inside of yourself and start to change limiting beliefs and identify them and just work with your feelings. Allow yourself to feel the way you feel and express them. Let those feelings out. If you feel pain, feel pain. And if you, feel anger, and learn how to use those energies for your awareness and integration instead of projecting them out on somebody on the outside. If when this person is constantly belittling you or talking shit about you, or like they're nice and then they're not nice, and if that's making you feel bad and angry, then decide, do I want to have that person in my life or not? And if not, don't let them near you anymore. And that's where, the feminine informs the masculine, and your masculine side is like, poop, we're putting in a boundary right there. Done. Bye. And that's how it works to be a whole human being and to be integrated. And the more you get in touch with your feelings and you start asking acting, sorry, on them, and asking yourself, how do I feel? What do I think? Then you can decide, okay, does this feel good? Yes. If yes, more of it, please. No. If no, I don't want it anymore. And in this way, you're constantly being alive, and the feminine goes all the time through these cycles of death, birth, and rebirth. And whatever doesn't feel good anymore, whatever thoughts and beliefs don't serve us, it's our responsibility to metaphorically kill them, let them go, and in their place, install new ones. And that is a constant process. And look what we've created. We have all of these computers and phones that contain everything, right? And they constantly go through updates. And we're the same way. We constantly go through updates because the energy is constantly changing and shifting. But because we neglect our feminine side and we suppress our feelings, we're not in touch with that constant flow of energy, and we feel miserable and stuck. And we operate on old beliefs and conditioning. Okay, let me try this again. Francois, stop, baby. Don't meow. You'll get food soon. Be quiet, Francois. Shh. Be quiet. Shh. So this is how you work with the feminine and come back into wholeness when you integrate the feminine and the masculine within. And naturally, you also have to heal your masculine side. So when a feeling arises, you listen to it and are able to follow it and take the appropriate action. And if this person is constantly hurting you, but you're not doing anything and you're not saying, hey, when you do this, this actually hurts me. And even if you say it, if they're not following through and following up and continue to hurt you, then do you want to be around them? And that's the work, that's the inner work that we each need to do. And when each and every one of us aligns and has a healthy feminine and masculine and integrates them into wholeness and comes into sacred union, then our world will look completely different. Because imagine if every being is completely in self mastery and is making sure that they're creating the best world for themselves. And we can imagine your feminine side as this inner sacred garden that you have. And the thoughts and the feelings inside of it are the plants. And if there are thoughts and beliefs and feelings that you no longer wish to entertain because they don't contribute to your well-being, they're weeds that you periodically go and pull out. And you also become very selective who's gonna come in your garden and what kind of seeds are they planting. If there is a person in your life that is constantly planting seeds of fear, doubt, insecurity, jealousy, envy, and every time they come over, they leave these weeds in your garden, well, that's just creating extra work for you that you constantly have to pull those seeds out and make sure they don't spread in your garden. So instead of going through that process over and over again, it just might be easier to say, you know what? My garden is closed for you. I'm closing the gate, and from now on, you cannot enter. And only let the people in who actually contribute to you and bring positivity and bring joy and bring love and bring encouragement and bring hope. And the ones that don't go criticizing your garden, saying, like, oh, you could put this over there, or oh, your peonies are looking a little bit sad. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we don't want those people. You want people who enjoy your creativity, enjoy the way you've arranged their garden, and don't feel threatened by your garden, and don't compare their garden with your garden, but are able to enjoy your garden for what it is because it's an expression of who you are, and they genuinely love you, and that's why they want to hang out in your garden. And if they're not that kind of person and constantly want to criticize you and tell you how to arrange your garden, then don't let them in. And when we come to this integration and realize that this is our sacred work to take care of our internal state and share flowers with others from the overflow and what we have in abundance, then we can go and visit other people's gardens and be inspired from the seeds that they have planted, and decide that we can cultivate the same seeds because everything is available to all of us. And instead of cultivating seeds of fear, doubt, insecurity, jealousy, envy, anger, resentment, we can cultivate the seeds of peace, love, joy, happiness, curiosity, kindness, generosity, compassion, resilience, and all the beautiful things. And we go and visit each other's gardens to get more inspired to co-create together. And it can be like, oh, I have like a lot of lilacs, and I can be like, oh, I have a lot of peonies. Oh, okay, let's make a beautiful bouquet together. And there's a lot of respect for each person's garden. We don't go into their garden and start picking flowers without permission. We go into their garden to enjoy the sights and the smells and the sounds and the tastes and the noises. Yeah, I did say sounds. I always forget what. Oh yeah, the feels. And if they want to share something with us from their garden, we can gratefully accept it. And with the same token, if they're giving us weeds only, we can say, you know what, I kind of don't want those weeds, but you can compost them or do whatever. So this is how we integrate the feminine when we really pay attention to our internal state, to our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, imaginings, and we tend to that garden daily. And you don't need meditation practices. You don't need, to follow external courses and whatever it is. All you need to do is pay attention to your inner state, pay attention to your feelings, and move accordingly. And with the integrated masculine, you decide what's a yes, what's a no, who you let in, who you keep out, how much you share. And naturally, in order to do that, you definitely have to take time for yourself, to yourself, to tend to that garden. And see, where can you collect new seeds from and what brings you inspiration and what makes your soul happy and what makes you feel good. And make time for more of that so your garden can be thriving. And make sure to go and visit other people who also have thriving gardens. And if you want to help somebody whose garden is completely overrun by weeds, um, make sure you're mindful of how much time you spend in their garden tending to it. Because who's going to tend to your garden? In the meantime, the weeds can start growing in yours. So we can help other people, we can share some of our seeds and knowledge and help them pull some of their weeds. But at the same time, ultimately, that's each and everyone's own responsibility. And you can do it just a little bit, but make sure you don't spend your whole time in other people's gardens. And again, there's no room for criticism, it's just discernment. Do I like your garden? Do I resonate with it? Do you have the variety of flowers that I do? Do you have just two kinds? Or do you have 50? And how many kinds of flowers and plants we have, it depends on how curious we are, how courageous we are, what capacity we have to tend to things, how open we are. And when we go visit other people's gardens, what seeds do we take with us? to cultivate in our own garden. And when we look at life like that, everything completely changes, right? Because we realize that we're here to create the garden of our dreams, and everybody is free to create any way that you want to. And if you've ever had a garden, you're aware that in winter a lot of things die, but then it's time for a fresh start, and you can always move plants, you can always change things around, um, you can always introduce new plants and seeds. And the garden is something very much alive. And sometimes one crop is not doing so good, another is doing wonderful. And you just observe and tend, observe and tend, observe and tend. Maybe your tomato patch is doing terrible this year, but your cucumbers are really amazing. And that's the whole point, to just be in tune with yourself and move like that, and create the best garden that you can for your sheer enjoyment and sharing with others. So, yeah, think of your feminine side as a garden, and make it beautiful. And don't be afraid to share it with others if they have earned the right to come in. And some people can only admire your garden from the outside, and that's all right too. They can still be inspired. So think about that. Now that you know that the feminine is your inner state, your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and imaginings, what kind of seeds you'd like to cultivate, what kind of weeds you'd like to pull out, what crop in particular would you like to focus on right now, and who do you feel should lose access to your garden, who should have limited access, who should have more of an access because they contribute and actually help you to pull weeds and cultivate plants instead of criticizing you and judging you. And who should admire just from the outside? And how far of a distance on the outside? Think what kind of boundaries you want to create to protect your delicate feminine side. And make sure your masculine enforces those boundaries and tends to the garden.